Hi, I'm Callum, and as for the first question, which was three qualities which are most important in a teacher, I think the first of which is probably flexibility, and that's in terms of, I suppose, method, mode, manner, the way in which you get through to a student, because quite often students are different, students don't like the subject, students love the subject, but they want to pursue that further, and I think it's really the onus of a tutor to find the right method, find the right style for a student, because ultimately it's the student's results that are the most important, and the metric of success for a tutor is that you get through to these students. So I'd say flexibility. I also think you have to be a very good explainer, so your capacity to put things in different terms so that that resonates well with the student, your capacity to simplify things is crucial. And then finally, I would add that you have to have an excellent subject knowledge. I think ultimately, if you don't know what you're talking about and you don't have the confidence and the depth of knowledge in order to explain that and teach that, then that is going to be kind of severely hamstringing you. But also, it's about encouraging a wider interest. So that breadth of knowledge allows you to really engage a student and to take them on that route through a subject. If they want to, if that's their kind of interest, if they're interested in the further exploration of the subject which you're tutoring. As for the second question, one of the highlights of tutoring for me is when I was living in Marseille. So I did my year abroad in Marseille, teaching in three different schools. So I was teaching in three colleges, which was kind of 11 to 15. And I was primarily there as a kind of language assistant. I was thinking about ways to improve conversational English, doing a lot of oral practice with these students. But I got the opportunity to teach a lot of the classes myself and to kind of have, I suppose, a fair bit of autonomy in those sessions. And one of which I decided to teach a bit of philosophy, which was really cool. So these students hadn't had much engagement with philosophy, and I managed to kind of convince the teacher that we could do a philosophy of mind session, looking at consciousness and thinking about kind of what it would mean for robots or kind of non-human systems to have a conscious experience and what that would look like, doing some thought experiments, getting them to really kind of critically engage with that, which was a style they were not really kind of familiar with. So that was really fun, really engaging, kind of on a personal note, because that was the first kind of proper class I was teaching in French for an hour with a whole classroom, as opposed to kind of teaching a specialized group, because I did a lot of international school prep. But that was really good, and the kids seemed to love it. So that high, I suppose, that kind of adrenaline rush of speaking a different language and getting through to kids about something they hadn't kind of thought about necessarily was really, really cool. Really loved that. And that has definitely stayed with me as a memory. As to why I got into teaching, so initially I just started as a mentor. I was working as a mentor kind of in school after doing GCSEs, working with GCSE students, looking at French GCSE, which is, I suppose, where I started. I really enjoyed it, really loved it, had a kind of strong interest in grammar and teaching grammar. And then that has kind of in turn translated to a wider tutoring practice where I tutor French, literature and philosophy, literature being the bulk of what I do. Teach a lot of English literature across GCSE and A-level, which has been really fun, really engaging, especially trying to get through to students about kind of what texts they want to be studying, and also just looking at the kind of core texts and thinking, what is an essay and what it is exactly that we're looking to build in an essay, so as to ensure some kind of transferable academic skills that they can use in history, or if they kind of pursue English further, then that I find really interesting. Aside from tutoring, I am a postgraduate law student, so I did my bachelor's in philosophy and French, and then now I have decided to kind of pursue a career in commercial law. So that's what I do outside of tutoring.